So, spiritual life, that it does exist, but it doesn't exist for many people who live through the whole life and not even have a drop from the ocean of spirituality. So, unless you explore, you don't find it. And once you find it, even then you require a lot of strength and perseverance and persistence to keep on, increasing it. And then how it becomes a reality for you and a real flow of an ocean within you. So it is something that it has to start as a spark somewhere. If you look at the Amazon River, if you look at in one documentary I had seen, it starts as a single drop. They actually trace the whole Amazon River. This is where it's starting from. And then once that trickle starts, and then all the little by little other streams join and this and that, and it becomes a big Amazon River. So spiritual life has to start at some point, and you have to be ready for it. So one of the things I considered pioneer in my life was a statement by Mahavir. And at that time, I was dealing with what he was referring to. So it was like a perfect key and lock situation there. He said that the cause of your anger, and today's topic is on anger. He says the cause of the anger is your inability to change yourself, depending upon the outside situation which is not under your control. And that's why your frustration comes out as an anger. Normally, anger, we always do it and then we always justify it. That, okay, this is the reason I got angry. If he or she did not do this, I would not have to get angry. So we always blame the world for the anger. And yet, anger is something that makes you say things that you normally would not say, and would make you do things that normally you would not even do. So I was at that state of realization that yes, anger makes me say things that I normally would not say. As a normal person in a normal situation, you would not speak things like this, but the next day you say, well, I should not have done that. So at that time it came in, that statement, that it is your inability to deal with the surroundings which are changing with its own force. So all of a sudden, the journey that I was taking to the outside started taking the form inside. That was my first droplet of the Amazon River. So I realized that if I want to deal with the anger, I have to find the solution within, because I was too rigid to be, and I was not flexible enough to the surrounding situations which were changing on their own. And I was the one who had set the rules that this and this this person should be like this person should be like that. It was like walking around with a 12-inch ruler. Anybody is 12 and a half is no good. Anybody is 11 and a half is no good. So who created this ruler? That was my own mind. So it's the inflexibility of my mind was making me dealing with the situations that were not fitting into that size of the ruler, and I was bringing it out as frustrations. So all our emotions, all our ideas and thoughts and beliefs and all that, we have been carrying around for eons. And sometimes it just takes a little spark, little droplet of water to change the whole course of your life. So that's when I realized that inward journey was necessary to really find out, why am I not flexible? What do I have to do myself to get rid of my anger? It was me as a person. If I look at myself, if I am a soul, which I was told, I didn't know anything about the soul, and then I have mind, I have my ideas, I have my beliefs, I have my thoughts, and then I convert all this thing in the form of an action, which comes out as an anger or hatred or physical abuse, or verbal abuse, all sorts of actions we carry out. There is a continuum from your soul through the mind, through the body to the outside world. It's one process. So if my mind is what's filled with anger, I have to learn how to go beyond that mind to find out how to fix. See, the anger is something that comes from outside. You cannot get angry on something that is not outside. You're never gonna get angry on your soul. What did the soul do? Soul cannot do anything, even if you know about the soul. So journey of all our negativities that the Jains call that the Mad, Moh, Krodh, and Maya. 4 kasais. Those are the main kasais that we have, and they are hidden within us. These are our enemies. And when you can win over those enemies, that's when you become a Tirthankar. So, and they call the word, now we always say Namo Arihantanam. Ari is Shatru. Shatru is your enemy. Hant means you destroy your own Shatrus, which are hidden within ourselves. Our enemies are within us, not outside. Not your wife, not your children, not your neighbor, not your patients, not your secretaries, not the Trump or nothing. Nobody has anything to do with your emotions. It's you. It's only you. And when that realization starts, that's when you feel like, let's do something else. And something that is not working, anger is just bursting out. Every time we do get anger, we identify ourselves that, yes, I'm angry. Actually, it's wrong. We are not angry. We are something else than the anger. So whenever we want to do something in the material world, say you want to create something out of a raw material, you apply your head, you look at the raw material, what to do. All this analysis starts because you and the raw material is something else. You are looking at a distance. You are the creator and the raw material is sitting there and you want to create something out of it. That's where your ideas and or your thoughts and everything go into action to realize what you can do. The same way, the anger is coming from outside. Because if it was your real nature, you would be angry 24/7. But you're not. Sometimes you're angry and sometimes you're not. But we use the anger. The anger comes in within us from somewhere we don't know. And at that point, we have to analyze, where did the anger come from? What happened to it? Why is it gone? Why I'm not angry right now? Why was I angry then? All these things, analysis has to be started. Then you can realize that anger is something that you can play around with it, like an outside object. Then who is playing around with the anger? There is something within you, which is your consciousness or whatever may be the case, is actually analyzing like a Rubik's Cube. How do I solve this problem? So then only, that's like Vijay Bhai says, positive dynamic acceptance of the present moment. That frees you to do the things which are possible, which were never possible before. Because every time we get angry, we say, oh, I should not have gotten angry. Then you feel sorry next day also. Then again, you are in a sorrow mode. Then you are in an anger mode. Then you are in a joyous mode. We have associated ourselves with our emotions. And all the emotions have come from outside. We don't realize that. But we utilize these emotions to get the things done in the world. Like if we want to suppress someone, we'll get angry. For the moment, the guy is not going to speak anything. The guy or girl is going to subdue because they don't have that tendency. So they will kind of give in to your anger. You'll feel good. Like, okay, I got my work done, and that's it. So you're literally utilizing the anger as your agent. But this agent, you're paying a very high price. So it's like almost like you want to get some settlement removed and you want to build a high rise there. So what are you going to do? You're going to find a politician, right? And you're going to bribe him, give him money, whatever. Say, well, make this happen somehow, somewhere. You are the one who have the power. So now the politician is hired in a way. Now he's going to start making statements in the newspaper that Dr. Shah, such and such, he's saying that this is breeding the diseases and this settlement has to be removed because it's the cause of all this such and such disease. And I said, I never said that. but you don't have a choice. Now the politician, whatever he says becomes your statement. The same way, anger, when you are in angry mode, whatever you speak, you normally don't speak. Right? Same thing, politicians is gonna go and remove this settlement, gonna physically remove it, and he says Dr. Shah has ordered it because it's causing these diseases and this and that. I never said that. I didn't want them to be removed. I wanted them to be resettled, something. Bottom line is, he is acting as your agent, and whatever he speaks becomes your statement. Whatever he does becomes your actions. So for the first time, I realized that anger makes me say things that next day I feel sorry about, and makes me do things that I normally would not do. So anger is something that we have to look at it as an outside event. And then only our desire to do something about it, it changes. So anger is same way all the other emotions, the greed, the hatred, all the desires that I want this and I want that and all that. So all these belong to the finite world. And the world which is finite is all made out of matter. And we want results to be brought in the finite world. So anything that you use, whether you use your other part of your mind that, oh, okay, next time I'm not gonna get angry. I'm gonna take a definite vow that, okay, this time I got angry, but next time I'm not gonna do that. But it was your mind that got angry. Now it's the other part of your mind is saying that I'm not gonna get angry. One part of the mind is fighting with another part of the mind. Who is gonna win? Either way, you are gonna lose. And yet, at the last moment, still the anger comes out. So, to fix the problems of the mind, you need something which is other than the mind. So only in the other parts of the mind, other parts which are part of our body, which is beyond the mind, has the ability to fix the mind's problem. So that's, I always give example. If I am a surgeon, and if I get an appendix attack, I can't operate on myself. I need third party's help. So a party which is much more powerful, much more stronger, and has a capacity to subdue these politicians who has come in my house, literally, unwanted. And he's doing all this gundagiris, all goes and all the stupid things in the society in my name. And I feel like a hostage. And we are hostage to our anger, because anger has controlled you completely. So the spiritual world is something that is available to us to change ourselves. But we have to be ready to let it expand. So as the waters of the Amazon River starts flowing, it starts accepting this stream a little bit. Every little contribution helps. Wherever you hear, wherever you see, wherever you touch, whatever experience you go through, if you have that tendency to learn things from the world, ultimately the spiritual flow can become a big, gigantic river for you, turn into Niagara Falls. Then becomes a reality, something that it's part of you, rather than something that you never knew anything about. So the spiritual world, once it opens up, it has a capacity to alleviate and realize that every single thing that you have is coming from outside. And then all your emotions, all your greed, mad, moh, krodh, maya, all these things start dropping, but only if the world of spiritual existence has opened up for you. So all the things which have created, just like the universe, created out of nothing, the shunyata, the silence, which is the ultimate presence within you. Silence is always there. Shunyata is always there. Digits are afraid of shunyata because digits will disappear. In shunya state, there is nothing there. Even number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, everything disappears. Finite is afraid of infinite, because in the infinite, finite loses its value. If you have $10,000, I have $100,000, I'm 10 times richer than you. But if I put you in the infinite state, We both exist. You walk around with your 10,000, I walk around with 100,000, and there is a vast open consciousness everywhere. And he says, what's the point? The value of the finite is only relative to each other. In the world of infinite, it loses its value. So the world of infinite is something that has to open up within you. The same thing with the sound and the silence. No matter how much you're singing, what bhajans you're singing, what song you're singing, there is a way of comparing. Oh, this guy is good, this guy is not good. I can't stand this girl, I like this song. There is comparison. With the comparison, I can select who I listen to, who I don't listen to, where I choose to go, where I choose not to go. I have selections available only in the finite world, in silence. Your silence is exactly the same thing as my silence. In silence, we are all the same. So in the silence, everything dissolves. All the issues of the finite world dissolves. So the anger is a product of the finite world. You try going to the jungle and get angry on a tree. What is he gonna care? Only you need some response in the back. You need some results of the anger. If the anger is not gonna do anything, anger disappears. Simple as that. So all your emotions are all interdependent. All your superiority complexes are interdependent. If I'm rich, I have to have some poors hanging around with me. Then only I feel good. Even the richest person in the world, he needs everybody else to feel superior. So inferiority complex, the same thing. Who do I feel inferior to? Even the biggest souls, biggest personalities have existed on this earth. They have lived in all these confinements of the finite world all their life. Lenin, who was a superstar in the communist society, and yet he was short. His legs would not reach the ground when he would sit on the chair. So he always felt inferior when he was holding the big summits in the front of all the world leaders. He wanted to make sure he had designed certain chairs so his feet would touch the ground. Small things. To you, it will think that Lenin, how would it matter? But it did matter. Same thing, Napoleon was a very short guy. He was always felt inferior till the day he died. He won these major wars, but he always felt that he was short. So our fixations are on various finite things. And in these fixations, we fight. That's when the anger comes in, because we relate to our finite world. We relate to our height. We relate to our color. We relate to our color of our hair. We relate to how much money we have, how many cars we're driving, how money. All these things we compare all the time. We fight, we angry, and then we have certain ways we want to live in this world. Whenever people don't follow the ways, we get angry. So anger has nothing to do with the outside world. It's our internal fixated mind that creates the anger, because we have fixed mind. And that's where the exposure to the infinite. Mind is finite. Mind either knows something or it doesn't know something, but it can know in the due time. If you have enough long life, you will end up reading every single book in this earth, right? But still, it will be not finished. So unfortunately or fortunately, our life ends before that happens. So, but still, mind composed of only the known and the unknown. But the world of the infinite is not knowable, because that's where the mind has to stop. And when the mind stops, all its impurities also stop. The hatred, the greed, the superiority complex, and the anger also disappears. So the exposure to the infinite world is the world of spirituality. So we have to grab the spirituality everywhere we go, wherever we smell, wherever we touch, wherever we hear. He is everywhere. There is no way for us to escape him. We can not know him, and we can say, okay, God doesn't exist. But who is saying it? The mind. How can mind know the unknowable? Agya. There is gyat, there is agyat. that is known and unknown. But mind cannot know the agya, because mind is the product of agya. All the finites are the product of the infinite. All the words are produced in silence. There is no way to brag about your words. There is no way to brag about your thoughts or you. We all are product of one super consciousness, which is infinite. So how can a mind know God? So there is nothing like knowing God. There is something like merging with Him. That's possible. But knowing God is an oxymoron statement. You cannot know God, because knowing God is, that means you still exist. You as you are cannot know God. So the anger finds its flimsiness. The anger becomes kind of a flimsy emotion when your inner soul wakes up. When your inner existence, the silence starts speaking, all the words stop. When the silence takes over, all your five senses become secondary. That's why they call indriyas, right? Indriyas are lesser gods. The seat of the whole darbar is Indra, which is our mind. So all the indriyas gather things from outside and brings as a gift, as an offering to the Indra, the mind. And look what we are bringing. Agandas, Marlo, weed, marijuana. All these things we are bringing to the Indra's darbar. We could do better than that. But we can't, because all we know is mind, body, senses, and the world. We think that's all that is. No, there is a lot more than that. When your inner character starts shaping up, the pratyahara starts. Pratyahara is the reverse journey of your senses, where the senses don't mean anything. Senses will be there as your day-to-day functionality. Yes, you have to know where your car keys are. You need your eyes. You need your hands to touch the keys, to turn the car. All these things are necessary, but only because the indriyas become your slaves. But whose slave? Whose slave? We don't know. We talk about all these things, that yes, indriyas has to go, this and that, until some other personality starts springing up within you. Your original personality will stay. As long as you remain, you will say that I got angry. You will not say that anger happened within me and I have to find out why. Then only you start creating a distance between anger and something that is you don't know yet. But you will in the due time. With meditation, you open up your inner world of consciousness, which is infinite. And compared to that, you cannot say, okay, now try getting angry. What's the point? Anger is only used to gain something in this world. But when the finite world is showing up in front of you, when you are in the pedestal of the infinite, what good is the finite anyway? What was I fighting for? Something that I was going to give up and walk away anyway. So the inferiority of the senses will show only when the superiority of your inner soul, inner self, inner consciousness starts rising. And then indriyas have no choice, because for the first time, who is the master has been established. The indriyas become the slaves. There is a story, Osho was saying that he went to one of the villages, and there was a school which was being run. And he stayed there for a few weeks, and so he got to learn the politics of the village. So the story was, the way it went was, the principal was getting very old. He was like almost 75. But he had run the school for a long time. And there was no election system or nothing like that, that you have to step down and you have to have new principal. But all the younger teachers, They all had aspirations. They wanted to be the principal so that they can, carry out. But there was no way to get rid of this guy. I mean, this guy was really one of the most authoritative guy, and he had been a principal for all his life. And so what they did was, so they said all the teachers got together. He says, so they had a meeting, secret meeting, so they all got together, and he says, you know what, enough is enough now. Mr. Such and Such has to go, and they selected one representative. So he says, but how are we going to do it? I mean, there is no way of doing it. There is no election. There is no official way of that, okay, you just don't come anymore. But the guy keeps on coming every day. He's running the school as if there is no tomorrow, as if he's going to be around forever. And so finally they selected one guy. He says, we're going to select you as our representative. Tomorrow, before he come half an hour before, just go and sit in his chair, right? And then automatically he's going to get the message. Nobody had courage to tell him anything. So everything is decided, and then finally the guy is sitting there, and the principal walks in. Principal walks in as if nothing has happened. He walks in with his usual stroll. He used to carry a stick, and then he goes and sits. As soon as he goes, the guy gets up and sits down again. Something that he has been doing it for all these years. He has accepted the principal as his superior, and he even could not rebel. So Osho had a nice discussion. He says, why did you do this? He says, just because I belong there, and the whole school is built around me. Until I break down, nothing will break down. And it's going to go on like that. So the Indriyas are the lesser than our inner consciousness, which is infinitely big, more powerful, and more than ever you could have even imagine. The gift of infinity is an unimaginable gift that you can have. That's where your shield develops. Shield is your real character. Shield is different than your charitra is different. Charitra is something that people tell you. You should do this, and you should not do this, and you should not steal, you should not get angry, you should not. No. Everybody tells us, all religions say, don't do this and don't do this. But why? Why not? And if you don't do this, what else would you do anyway? Because that's all you know. You know your mind, and you identify yourself with your own mind, and you believe that you are the mind. Now it's the matter of only shifting your characteristics. Okay, so you don't want to get angry, so you don't look angry, but you hold the anger within, and which is even 10 times worse than, and then it comes out in a different form. Like you go at your work, your boss gets angry at you, and they say, well, you cannot say anything. If you get angry, you're going to lose your job. So the guy comes home, and then he brings anger on his wife. Then if she forgot to put salt, and now she's in trouble. Now the children are in trouble. So, but that anger was your emotion. The consciousness, which is the powerhouse of your energy, you were utilizing to change the world, right? So it has a momentum. You have decided the world has to change, including your boss. You don't like the boss, and you want to change him. But that energy is like a huge river which is flowing, and all of a sudden there is a dam sitting there, cannot do anything. So the dam is the boss, the fear that you're going to lose the job. So all that energy now, it is ready, it has to divert somewhere. So small streams are going to come out in the form of, and your son will say, Dad, what happened? You cannot even say, because now you have a misdirected anger. So you don't want to accept that you are wrong either. Chup re. Don't say anything. So a lot of times this flow of energy, we have no control on. One time it happened in our office that I used to live there. That was our house and office combined, right? So me and Shanil and Susma, we went out, came home, we locked ourselves out, right? So we didn't have the key to get in. And we didn't have an extra key outside. We were thinking of calling the locksmith and this and that. And Shanil was like 6, 7 years old. He says, Dad, how about if we call Helen, who was our secretary? She lived in Bloomfield. He said, no, Jupiter, let me think. This is a big problem now. Now, after 10 minutes, I realized that was the best solution. Because he has an innocent mind. His mind energy was available for all the possible options. And yes, that's what exactly we did. We'd call Helen. Helen came over, opened the door for us, and that's it. So, so a lot of time what's that?
She had the office keys, right?
Yeah, obviously, because she used to open the office every day anyway. It was a simple thing. But when we our misdirected energy, so this spirituality is all about realizing where is the true master. The true master is within you. Once that master, first you only see a speck of him, and then little by little it expands. I think in the experiences only, I posted those 10 pictures of the Zen Buddhism. I think we talked, right? So first the guy, he is looking for his bull. He sees his footprints, and then he sees the tail, then he sees the bull, then he's riding the bull, and then everything becomes okay. So your shield is your true character. At the shield level, it's not that consciousness is emptiness. It's full of so many beautiful things. At the consciousness level, you're connecting, first of all, with the whole world. The whole world is your children. You become a mother for the whole world. Whenever you act, you will never act which is not in the benefit of the whole world. You will never do anything just for your benefit because you don't exist. Only the world remains. So every single action that emanates from the consciousness level, it becomes a benefit to the world. Whoever is around you, it will always be in their benefit, never for your personal satisfaction. So one, you connect with the whole world. Two, all your emotions are gone. All your disabling emotional attachments and excessive love and excessive, oh, what am I going to do without you and what will happen to me? No, you are self-sufficient. And your dependence on anybody else goes. That doesn't mean you don't love them. Normally, love means attachment. Oh, I love you so much, I cannot be without you, this and that and all that. It's an attribute happening at the mind level. That's not a mature love. Mature love is only that remains itself in a continuous flow. Your personality at the consciousness level, you become love. It's not that you show love. Love is not an act. Just like I said, when you see a flower, you become a flower. The characteristic of your inner consciousness is true worldly love. That's the karuna. So you become that. It's not that, okay, I'm in the mood, I'll show you love. I'll be loveful to the world or nothing. You don't have, it's not an act. It's something that you cannot even control because that's what you are. So this is shield. Shield is something that has been acquired. You will also be innocent because you don't need anything from the world. Because whoever wanted something from the world was locked up at the mind level. Now you have transcended the mind. Mind has desires. Mindlessness has no desires. So when you don't want anything, what do? You give. Giving becomes your nature. It's part of you. So this kind of unimaginable qualities will come within you. And at that time, the anger, greed, hatred, all these emotions become flimsy. So you say, what's the point? What am I doing all these things for? So they go down to the lesser level. And then the fragrance of the shield of your true inner personality, when it comes out, everybody around you can smell it. They can see it in your day-to-day walking, your gentleness, your friendship for everyone, your joy, your true happiness that comes from within. You just share with everybody instead of all the emotions that you had used to divide. You will get angry at one person and then you'll go and love somebody else. you have to utilize one portion of your mind to be angry on someone and then love someone else. So you have a split personalities. It's all divided. Now all of this reservoir has been built up. All your emotions which were draining your spiritual energy has gone. All the sense organs don't desire anything anymore. So the reservoir starts building up and your inner shield actually builds up. So there is a difference between shield and charitra. Charitra is artificial. It's like putting a plastic flowers on a tree. It doesn't make sense. It looks good. It's artificial though. Only when the tree goes through the sufferings of all the 4 seasons and the hard work, harsh winters, very high temperatures, water someday, not having the water the other day, finally all the strength that comes in and then goes through and finally the flowers come out. Even though it's something that happened only once in a year, it's worth it because that's the real. So your personalities which comes outside has to be real. Your inner consciousness is what should reflect outside, but it's not easy. You have to really spend enough time, find that bull within you, named the inner consciousness, the infinity, and in that infinite state, you have to make a home first. He says, Osho had said once, it was very nice. He says, Tang ho jamino asma se. If you fed up with all this, छोड़ दो इन्हें. लेकिन छोड़ने से पहले बना लो अपने खुद के जमीन और आसमान. So first you make your home first somewhere before you start dropping. Do not be in a rush that, okay, I want to give up the anger. No, it's not going to happen. It is deeply rooted within you. So this earth, the sansar that you have known as your own home, and you have made that belief that this is my playground, I can do whatever. So if you're fed up with all the sufferings of this sansar, and you have called this a home, make another home within you where you know you belong, where you can always go back and it will be always there. So that permanent, shashwat state of inner consciousness is your true home. So you have to spend maximum amount of time within, not just during meditation, 24/7, analyze your actions, others' actions, where they are making mistakes. Learn from others' mistakes, learn from your mistakes, and keep on expanding that inner state of consciousness. And once that becomes your permanent home, that's when you can start giving up. And you will not even have to give up. It will fall off by itself. So sansar is like a mango. If it is a mango which is not ripe and you try to yank it off, the mango gets hurt and the tree gets hurt. If you are not mature for sannyas, this is the real sannyas, not physically leaving the world and going into the Himalayan mountains, where you actually understand that all these material things have no value. Then only running after the finite objects will stop. But if you try to stop yourself with a physical force, you are hurting everyone. Right in the middle of, we had one guy, the guy was into severe anxiety and all that, and then he was dreaming about all this joining the spiritual stuff, this and that, and the whole family he was the only breadwinner. I said, what are you gonna do? I said, you're doing it for your own selfish sake. Well, what's gonna happen, this and that. So people have a lot of grand ideas, but they are not mature. The spirituality is a maturity. It has to little by little fall off. The mango has to ripen up. Then only there is no suffering at the society level. Everything has to be ripe, mature, and has to happen. But for that, you have to spend enough time within. And the spirituality has to turn like a big Amazon river within you, flowing with torrents and full of force of consciousness within. So do not be in a haste to drop things, but understand your true nature, spend time within, then anger comes almost impossible to come out from you. All right? So much for today.